Big news for the Gators as they pick up another commitment. This time it's a transfer portal pickup who was recently named the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. Pretty exciting. Joey Slackman led the Ivy League for most of the season in tackles for loss at 12. He also totaled 4 sacks, 4 hurries, a pass breakup, and a blocked field goal this season for the University of Pennsylvania. Hopefully, he's planning on playing special teams for us. He also recorded 50 tackles. Not only was he a first-team All-Ivy selection, but he was also named to the academic All-Ivy team as well. So in his last 19 games, he had 99 tackles, 21 and a half tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Pretty productive stats for Joey Slackman. He is 6'4", 300 pounds. He is out of Comic, New York. So what does this say about Billy Napier? We don't even have a D-line coach right now, at least not officially. So it's pretty impressive that they got Slackman to campus and really sold him on what Florida has to offer, both academically, football-wise, life experience-wise. There's a lot of colleges that are after Slackman. So this is a huge pickup for the Gators and really a feather in the cap for Billy Napier because he's recruiting D-line right now with one hand tied behind his back because he doesn't have a coach yet. Hopefully, whoever his coach announcement will be coming soon. We've heard lots of rumblings. We heard recruits have been told who it is, but nothing official from the Florida camp yet. So whether that means he's still got a bowl game to coach or he's still coaching in the NFL or whatever, hopefully we'll hear soon. But super impressive when you pick up a commitment at a position that does not have a named coach at the moment. I love the focus on D-line as well because we've talked a lot on this channel about this, but Florida's D-line just wasn't good enough this season. I think there were individual good players, but there was no pressure. There was no push up the middle. This made everybody else's position more difficult on the defensive side of the ball because of lack of defensive line play. They weren't good against Kentucky. They weren't good against Georgia. They weren't good against Missouri. They weren't good against Arkansas, LSU. They played great against Tennessee, and I think they played pretty well against Florida State. And those would be probably the 2 times that Florida's defensive line showed up this season. So they're going to have to get better if this defense as a whole is going to improve next season. And Joey Slackman is a guy that can come in and contribute immediately. And I get it. A lot of people are scoffing at this pickup because he's from UPenn. But guys, Slackman was a highly sought after commodity in the portal. He had offers from Southern Cal, from South Carolina, from Michigan, Washington, Missouri, TCU, Miami, and a whole bunch of others after entering in the portal. Credit to Billy Napier and his staff for moving quickly. This is something that sometimes Billy Napier gets a lot of grief for, right? Not moving quickly, just taking his time through his processes. Where in the transfer portal, you just got to identify talent, kind of throw money at them, playing time, and let's go. And it appears that that's exactly what they did with Slackman. And that's a good sign, guys. I think we know that Billy Napier is deliberate, but I think the pickups that we've seen are showing us that Billy Napier is capable of moving quickly. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but I want to take a second and remind you guys about my family's annual ball drive. I've talked to you about it in a couple of previous videos, so I won't talk about it long here, but every year we buy lots of sports balls to donate to Metropolitan Ministries. Family believes if you give a child a ball, you can occupy an entire neighborhood. If you want to know more about it, shoot me a message. If you want to contribute, you can Venmo at Eric-Wilbur-2. We appreciate all of your support, and we're hoping to be able to support Metropolitan Ministries hugely this holiday season. Okay, so back to the transfer portal talk. They certainly weren't slow here. They offered 2 days after he went into the portal. They closed the deal with him as soon as he came on a visit this very past weekend. So they identified the talent they wanted. They were deliberate about it. They went after him with the quickness, and they got this job done. And again, Slackman is somebody that a lot of people wanted. So the fact that they were aggressive in this is a good sign. Let's talk about Slackman. I think he can be an instant impact guy. Is it going to take time to round into SEC form? Possibly, but that happens with freshmen every single year, right? Like, this is a guy with time under his belt playing college football. You have got to think the translation to the SEC is going to be faster for him than it would ever be for somebody coming out of high school. He's a guy you can count on to make a difference for you this upcoming season. And that is super important because Billy Napier has to be in win now mode. This is a kid that helps this cause. This is a kid who is a multi-sport athlete. We know Billy Napier loves those. Coming out of high school, he actually focused more on wrestling than football, even though he played both sports, which is how he ended up at UPenn to begin with. But he's a team captain. He's involved in leadership responsibilities, not only on that team, but in school. He seems like a really well-rounded kid that Napier is going to be able to trust to help lead in the locker room from day one. And that is something that the University of Florida is desperately needing for this upcoming season. Florida's got to win. Billy Napier no longer has the luxury of letting his 2024 class develop before his seat gets hot. His seat is hot. He's got to win right now, which means the next couple of weeks are so absolutely crucial to Billy Napier's success because he's got to hit on some guys in the transfer portal. When you look at Slackman coupled with our JUCO pickup from just the other day, we're trending in the right direction. These are the kind of players Florida needs to go after, and they are not anywhere close to being done in the portal just yet. I'd anticipate more moves sooner rather than later. When talking about win now, Napier knows what's ahead of him, but he also knows what's behind him. This fan base has a right to be frustrated, which is what Urban Meyer said in his interview with Buddy Martin last week. The last couple of years have not been fun for the Orange and Blue faithful. 2 losing seasons under Billy Napier. The last season of Dan Mullen's tenure was also a losing season. UF doesn't lose 3 seasons in a row. That's just not the way that we operate. That's not the standard at the University of Florida. That is absolutely not the expectation. Think about the history that UF has. We need to get back to where we once were. Where's all that start? Talent acquisition, right? And I really, really like the fact that it appears Napier is focusing on the trenches. We have to get better there. But I think that there's a blueprint for that, right? Look at Georgia, look at Alabama. How did those teams become the powerhouses that they are? They focused on the trenches. And when you look at Florida's team last season, they had some really talented skill players, but they weren't strong in the trenches. So it made it very difficult to take advantage of the skill that you had at different positions because your quarterback didn't have time, your defensive line didn't get pressure. It all starts in the trenches. We all want to see this turnaround. But listen, guys, I think we need to celebrate this week, okay? I understand being frustrated at where we are. I understand saying that it isn't acceptable to be where the University of Florida is at the moment. I know we want some more coaching announcements and changes, but let's celebrate the good news. Heading into the next couple of weeks, I anticipate we get more pickups through the portal. UF desperately needs that. Hopefully we close our 2024 signing class with some surprises. This is a good time. Let's celebrate today. I appreciate you all a ton. Thank you guys for joining me this year. I'm going to be talking to you real soon. Go Gators.